Okay, another quarantine leg day in my basement home gym. After warming up, I'm starting here with supersetting bodyweight sissy squats and regular squats. This is my first set. I plan to work up to 315 for 4 sets of 10. Wanted to do a little feeler set here, just to get some extra blood in the muscles. My knees were actually feeling decent today, which is very, very rare. And so I wanted to make sure I was warmed up as possible because I was going to try to go without knee sleeves, which I ended up doing. If you see what I'm holding there, I'm holding vice grips. I don't have the shoulder flexibility to grab the bar. I mean, I could if it with enough warming up and stretching, but it's still really painful. So I just use vice grips to hold on to. I'm actually thinking about maybe producing a similar version that would work better, maybe selling it. I'm looking into it because they're really a lifesaver. And I know there's ones on the market, but they're really large and really expensive. I'd like to have just something just smaller like that. I know people use wrist straps sometimes, but they're loose and not stable, and you actually have to pull down on them. Where if you're like me, I always like to kind of to push. I guess I don't know, push up maybe, but definitely not pull down on the bar. I never like to when squatting, and that's kind of what you have to do with the straps. So here I have a little extra spotter, and ends up kind of messing up the set. So my youngest daughter, the whole set wasn't quite right. I took a little wider stance than I should. It's actually my stronger position with the wider stance, but I need a hip replacement on my left hip, and I could feel it for the first couple reps. That was dumb because it really grinds those hips. But then when she kind of walked in front of me there, I went a little off balance and ended up hurting my right groin. So I decided to just bail on the set there on the 7th rep. Thought I'd come back, drop back down to 225 with a little wrap and see if it helped. And so I'm mostly showing this. It didn't help really much, but I'm mostly showing this because you'll see a lot of times, or not a lot of times, sometimes guys will have what looks like a knee wrap wrapped around their quad or something. And one famous one is Tom Platz is doing it in his 500 for 23 reps video. And what it is the wrap is like a bungee cord type material. So it provides it's almost like a tendon. And it does the same thing as you would if you wrapped it around your knee. A lot of times with your knee, people are using it to get extra weight out of the movement. But if you wrap it around anywhere like this, it provides the tension and support to whatever tendon is strained and takes a little bit of the load off it. It ended up, for me this time, the groin was way too high. It was way up high in my groin. And so even getting that wedged up as high as I could, I couldn't, it didn't quite provide the benefit that I was hoping to. So I ended up staying at 225 for my sets, but I just wanted to show the first one back down to 225 to show the wrap, to explain why if you're having problems. Yeah, and you can tell that right hip. I'm pretty much doing it with just all my left leg here. But like the idiot I am, I grinded through for all my sets. Probably paying for it, but I'm in the home gym. It's not like I have variety to do other movements. There's only so much I can do, and I'm coming off 2 mini tears on my left quad, one in December and one in January or February, towards the end of January. And so I'm not looking to take any more time off training legs. So I just worked through it today. I think it's one of those little injuries that'll be maybe painful next week and then back to normal. And then I moved on to Bulgarian split squats. Started out with a higher rep set to warm up. And this was kind of putting my hand there on my hip because at the bottom, when there's a little spot where you kind of have to stabilize a little bit, and it was hurting that groin. So I was trying to find a little groove where I could, and just put my forearm there at the bottom, provide a little, it pressed my forearm against my stomach and provided just enough stability to take the edge off of that hip. So, some of the little things you tweak and play with when you, especially as you get older and get more injured, you learn little tiny things all over. And so after the first warm-up set, I did 3 drop sets of 30 reps, 10 reps with the 45-pound plate, 10 reps with 25-pound plate, and then 10 reps with just body weight. I think I just show one set here, and I usually hold the weight at my side when I'm holding a dumbbell, but with the plate, it's a little, especially the 45-pound plate, it's kind of too long and it would end up hitting the ground, so I didn't really know what to do, so I ended up putting it on my hip And oddly enough, I felt like that worked better than holding it at the side. I don't know what holding at the side, how it changes the weight distribution, but this felt like it hit my quads more uh, than regular, which is what I'm trying to do with this. You can make this a kind of a glute movement, but I'm always really trying to hit my quads. I got a big enough ass, so I'm not too worried about making that bigger. Most of my movements are focused on hitting quads better. So this is a really good pump, especially if you're unflexible like me, because that back leg goes into a pretty deep stretch, and you almost get kind of a pump in the back leg also. And I'll notice, especially if I'm injured in one leg, and that back leg is the fresh leg, sometimes that'll do a decent amount of the work, actually lifting myself up. Limited on hamstring movement, so I'm doing stiff leg, and these surprisingly didn't hurt my hip or my groin that was hurting. So I almost went heavier, but the plan after I hurt my groin was to just do 3 sets of 10 with 315, and so that's what I stuck with. Trying to be smart. Just because it didn't hurt with 315 doesn't mean it wasn't going to hurt with heavier, and uh, I guess live to train another day. And these are the only pulling I'm doing right now, because I'm doing back is all bent over rows, and everything's so bent over and back intensive when you're home gym. I'm not doing deadlifts on back day. I'm only doing stiff leg on leg day. Otherwise, I'd be doing, 4 days a week. I'd be doing some kind of deadlift or squat type motion. And this is the best I could do for leg curls. I thought I had red bands, but all I could find were my red minis. I don't know where some of my bands went over the years. So these are just orange super minis, which didn't provide much real weight, but they were better than nothing. And then standing calf raises done as a superset. I actually did these to start, but I didn't want to put it at the start of the video because they're pretty boring, and I figured people would shut it off as soon as they saw me just standing there. So this is actually my favorite calf exercise. I do this at the gym too, holding a light weight, going to basically to failure, then dropping the weight, and then going to failure again, which you can't quite get as many reps. And then you can also, to kind of eke out force reps, you can push down on the rack stand to kind of lift yourself up a little bit. And it's my favorite calf exercise. And then I ended the day with walking lunges. By this point, my groin was getting pretty tight, so I just powered through these. I wanted to do 2 sets. I ended up stopping after the second because my form was terrible. I couldn't keep my body upright. It was just hitting that groin as soon as I started getting low on both quads. So I just did 2 quick sets back and forth across the yard with terrible form. At least the weather's getting nice, really nice in Michigan for early April. Shortly after this, we had a hailstorm, so it didn't stay nice, but at least at this time of day, it was beautiful out. It's probably almost 70 degrees, which we don't really ever see in Michigan in April. And I don't know how many reps there was. I just basically walked across the yard and back. It was probably, I'm guessing, 30 reps per leg, maybe. Or maybe not even that, maybe 15 or 20. I don't know. But I didn't do any weights, just body weight. And that's it. That's the quarantine leg workout in my basement home gym.